In today's video, I'm going to share with you 6 simple, natural ways for you to resolve cysts, tumors, thyroid dysfunction, cysts in your ovaries, and even your prostate glands, as well as an assortment of other fibrotic conditions throughout your body. I am so excited to have you join me here today on our Sunday live show, which happens once a month. I'm crazy excited to dig into a lot of your questions. I have been polling a lot of you, and the concurrent kind of over the kind of normal question that you guys have or frustrations are that you guys are tired, you're losing hair, you're depressed, you're constipated, you have cysts and fibroids in your body and glands, and you have concerns about your thyroid function, your liver function, as well as hormonal balancing. So today's video is really digging into all of that specifically. So I've got the chat is on. Welcome everybody. The live chat will be on the replay. So for all of you watching on the replay, you can join in as well. I'm going to urge all of you to comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. I will be taking live questions. The super chat function is on, and super chats questions get priority. So welcome everybody. I am really excited today to really answer a lot of specific questions about iodine and fibrocystic breast disease and foods to avoid if you might have Hashimoto's, and foods to eat if you want to boost your energy and improve just your complexion and overall hormone balancing. So we're going to dig all into that. Specifically, I've got products and resources I'm going to share with you that you can immediately grab online or at your local stores today and start implementing in your programs daily so that you feel better. And this is really a live show aimed at addressing a lot of your concerns. And I listen to you. So many of our followers, your frustrations and health concerns shape our content. And that's what today is all about. So I want to dig into 6 specific ways if you are dealing with a uterine fibroid, a diagnosis of PCOD or PCOS, and I've had both of those. Thyroid dysfunction, I've had that too. If you are a male dealing with inflammation of the prostate, a female dealing with any inflammation or thickening of your uterine lining, as well as anybody who might have feelings where you're a little bit more toxic, run down, decreased energy. This really is across the board going to address a lot of your frustration. So the first tip that I have for us to really dig into, focus on, and start to implement is to address estrogen disruptors. Hormone disruption is prevalent, and it is something that every day, every hour, every minute, we are being bombarded by toxic chemicals and synthetic hormones, and it's everywhere. It's on our skin care, it's in our skincare products, so it gets on our skin. 26 seconds is the uptake when an item chemical is put on the skin, it enters into your system and becomes toxic waste matter and disrupting your hormones. We see it in our food sources. So our foods have pesticides, insecticides, herbicides. It has just a lot of toxic chemicals, even in the processing of our foods. So eliminating and reducing our estrogen disruptors is first and foremost. Before we begin looking at what do we add into our daily regimen, we have to start to look at some elimination components. And when I say elimination, this doesn't have to be like drastic lifestyle changes per se. It doesn't have to be, breaking the bank with changing everything that you're doing. There are a lot of really easy and simple things that you can do that can have high impact. And what I like to see is implementing or eliminating common use items. So, what are you washing your body with? What are you brushing your teeth with? If you're a female and you're wearing makeup, what is your most commonly used makeup item? A lot of times it's going to be lipstick, and those hormones get into the mucosal membrane as well from our lips. So you can start to eliminate certain factors. Food is one of the easiest. I think when we start to look at, Clean 15 and the dirty dozen, and you start to make changes there, that's where we're going to see some big impact in terms of, your, like right now, I'm really excited. I found plums, and plums are very hard to find organic, and plums, nectarines, and peaches, those are really high in the absorption of toxic chemicals. And even our organic farmers, there's going to be pickup in hormones and pesticides and sprays from like a neighboring farm. So you want to be really cognizant of what you're consuming in your mouth, on your body, in your water sources. So we have a Berkey filter. And if you guys are curious about that, I can throw up a code at the wrap of this video. But I really wanted to dig into some major factors behind what might be one of the ultimate sources for the cysts that you're dealing with, the hormonal imbalance, the thyroid dysfunction, diagnosis of PCOS, diagnosis of infertility, diagnosis of enlargement of the prostate, breast swelling, genital swelling as well, lymph nodes that get fired up, poor lymph flow. We can really dig into estrogen disruptors as being at the center of that imbalance. And when we look at even further the way the body processes these toxins, it affects the lymphatic system. For all of you new tuning in or not aware, I'm a lymphatic specialist. That's one of my core specialties, is to make sure we're clearing out and cleansing our lymphatics so that we have optimal health. And the lymphatic system is very much bombarded by these estrogen disruptors. And so if our detox process, the traditional route to eliminate excess hormones and even cancer cells is through the lymphatics, well, guess what? It gets impaired, it gets bogged down, and then we start to see disease patterns, degenerative diseases, toxic states, and even further, an imbalance in the immune system. And so if you have an erratic, out of control, imbalanced, self-attacking immune system, i.e. autoimmunity of any organ, gland, muscle, soft tissue group, well, there's a lymphatic involvement. And that's something that's really, really big. So estrogen disruptors are key. And I'm checking in with all of you. I'm so excited you guys are tuning in. I appreciate your time here on Sunday. Debbie, we've got Debbie on board, and Iggy and Marianne. Hi, everybody. And basketball fan and Toy. Love, love, love. So thanks, Toy. I am going to second Toy. If you guys are inspired by this, give me a thumbs up, and you can hit the share button. You can share this with social platforms and let everybody else know. They can join us live, or they can watch us on the replay, because this video will be housed on YouTube permanently. But estrogen disruptors are really, really offensive. And I really wanted to dig into that specifically because we can see a lot of balancing by just eliminating as much as we can estrogen disruption. And I want to second this. So when we talk about skincare and toxins we're putting in our body, deodorant is a serious offender. It's not just for men, but like ladies, if you are using an antiperspirant, like a Secret, I can't even remember the names of them because I don't use them anymore. I haven't for almost 2 decades now. This is significant when it comes to fibrotic, cystic activity in your breast cells. And your breast cells are very much receptive to toxic matter. We have more tissue, adipose tissue, and fat cell tissue in the breast tissue. The breast itself is partly a detox process. We have cells, fat cells that store toxic matter, and the lymphatics are what help clear the breast tissue. And I'm going to tell you something that you probably didn't know. You probably haven't learned in your health classes when you took health, or even were told by your OBGYN, ladies. And for men, write this down, because your wife, your spouse, your female friend, partner, family member will be really interested in this. Every month when a female is cycling, and this is true to cycling, like we're having uterine shedding. And even for my ladies, I had a lot of people ask, well, let's talk about menopause, or if you've had a surgical menopause. You can still cycle with 1 single ovary or 2 ovaries without the uterus. But there's this whole action where we have a shedding of the cells. For the female body, this whole cycle, ovulation, and then menstrual cycle, cell shed. That's this whole process to get us ready if we were to become pregnant. Well, guess what? ladies, our breast tissue, those cells, just like the uterine lining, get prepared and they enlarge and they get queued up because either there's a signal like we're pregnant or we're not. When the body gets a signal we're not pregnant, those breast cells every month shed. Well, when we are wearing antiperspirants, toxic the deodorants, as well as underwire bras, it actually impairs the lymph flow and causes toxic matter, toxic state within the breast tissue. And that's one of the biggest reasons why we see women with fibrocystic breast disease or fibrotic tissue, cystic tissue in the breast. And I see this resonating. Marlene, my daughter just got breast cancer at 44, always ate healthy. So that would be a big thing, Marlene. Some of the items we're going to talk about a little bit further will definitely factor into helping her support healthy breast tissue. And Terry, my sister, thyroid was 34 and supposed to be 154. Her thyroid is very low. I'm so sorry to hear that with the breast cancer case. And just know that a lot of times when when ladies are, and men too, but we hear more so with ladies, when we're undergoing the whole breast cancer screening, a lot of times they'll do genetic testing and there's no sort of genetic component. That's environmental. So you can eat clean or think that you're eating clean, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're living as clean as you can. And we're talking about water sources, what we're showering in, what we're bathing in, what our food is being cleaned by. Are we using boiling, are we boiling water straight out of the tap? Or are we using like a filtration system, like we use our Berkey to boil our water? So I want to caveat that eating healthy is just one aspect, but there's a lot of other factors. And estrogen disruptions, number one. So let's dig into number two. Number two is to enhance your iodine intake. And you all know my background is in nutrition. It's one of my first postgraduate degrees. I am a nutritionist, but focus on how do we use food to heal the body. And iodine naturally occurs in kelp, seaweed, and I actually have my favorite item that I recommend is the Sea Seasonings by Maine Coast. And this is a small company. It's up in Maine. They have these little kelp granules. The amazing part is one single teaspoon, which is really easy to add into steamed beans, like green beans, or even I add it to my eggs that I eat in the morning. A single teaspoon, the equivalent is 970, I don't know if you can see it, 970% of your iodine intake. That is equivalent of a significant amount. I'm trying to see if the milligrams, I don't get the milligrams, but it's 1 teaspoon. So this is huge. You can use kelp granules as a salt substitute. The other good food item that is really pro iodine is spirulina. Spirulina is really, and pardon this is like what we use every day. So this, and in fact, I think I got this at TJ Maxx for all of you TJ Maxx haulers and love my haul videos. But this is a really wonderful, it's by Ancestral Roots, but the spirulina is rich in iodine, and it is really good for supporting the digestive system and getting the nutrients to support our thyroid. A lot of times folks with thyroid dysfunction or imbalanced and low TSH or high TSH, high T4, low T3, the reverse, and all of those different levels are imbalanced. Thyroid can be very supportive. And I go for food first. So that's a tongue twister. Food first, always. And then I might supplement with an assortment of topical. So I've grabbed the decolorized iodine. So a lot of times people will do, if there's a particular organ or gland that we're targeting, we can actually target and use the skin to deliver the iodine so we can have uptake that way. You can do supplemental. Iodoral is one of the ones that you can use, and they have a 25 and 50 milligram dosing where you're going to get the iodine iodide combination. And I don't recommend this long term, but this might offset some of the really intense symptoms where you're tired, you're depressed, maybe you have constipation and hair loss, which is very, very common for any assortment of PCOS, thyroid dysfunction, cysts, goiters, all of that. And iodine, I can't speak enough about the fact that we are deficient in it. Our soils are depleted. We have to supplement on top of our daily intake of the table salt. And friends, daily one, table salt is poor in its nutritional makeup. Your better option is to go with like a Himalayan salt or a table salt. But the other thing to note with that is that you want to make sure that you add in more, because if you are a consumer of gluten, you are going to be, and gluten is like flour-based products, and you're not going gluten-free, your body is being bombarded by bromine. And bromine in the periodic chart, remember chemistry, bromine has a stronger force on our iodine receptivity. And this is something a lot of times you don't know as well. Your tissues, your breast tissue, your prostate gland for men, the uterus for women, our ovaries, and the male testes, those glands, those core reproductive glands, have iodine receptivity. And so one of the first things that you should do if you are dealing with any degree of imbalance would be to test your iodine levels. And you can do this through hair analysis, but there are ways to definitely assess that. So I want to take a quick little assessment of our live chat. And I'm so grateful everybody is here. I want to answer some questions here. Charmaine, can you address ashwagandha Hashimoto's? Absolutely. Let's see. Irish moss. Yes. So Solrat, Kaba, Irish moss, and bladder wrack. Those are two additional supplements that are good with increase in iodine. Those often will come in like a herbal liquid tincture. And I saw somebody had asked, okay, Lori Kruger. Hi, Lori, welcome. Can having implants cause breast disease? Okay, so that is one of these really kind of unique scenarios. And so everybody's body is different, but I'll tell you, I do a lot of work with breast implant illness disease. And I have to apologize. My hair is a little out of control today. The humidity level is like 110 degrees. It's 110% outside. It's like 110 degrees here in human Georgia. So I'm a little crazy here. But to answer your question, Lori, more often than not, breast implants have been linked to greater toxicity of the breast tissue, depending on the manufacturer. There are manufacturers, there are cancer links. Now, and this is very public knowledge, you can go check out some of the lawsuits and FDA information about certain manufacturers. But breast implants themselves, depending on the age of the breast implant and then also how it was implanted, will be a factor in terms of how well is that tissue doing, the breast implant doing in the body. So a lot of bodies reject breast implants. That's where we get this thing called capsular encapsulation. And for any of you who are not familiar with that and are curious or have breast implants, I actually have video specific to breast implant illness and how a lot of women are removing their breast implants. And there are doctors that are very pro-supportive. And there's an awesome Facebook group that Nicole runs that you would gain a lot more access and information to, a list of doctors. But there is definitely a link. And a lot of women find that the more recent breast implants are instantly triggering autoimmunity. So women are getting diagnosed with lupus, Hashimoto's, candida overgrowth. I mean, like pain, all sorts of stuff. And when they remove the breast implant and they're getting it pathology, there's actually pathology that happens. These doctors are running labs and they're assessing there's yeast, there's fungus. It's horrible. And so that could very well be a factor, Lori. And it's just me. Hey, how do you keep dry with non-antiperspirant deodorant? Okay, so that's a good question. How do you keep dry armpits with well, first of all, that, there's kind of a few factors. So I will tell you, I am a natural oil user. I use tea tree oil and a combination of tea tree oil and lavender. When I am in clinic, if it's hot, like right now, I saw somebody had mentioned Schmidt's, Maria Marino. I like Schmidt's. That's one. And then the other one is Agent Nature, I think is the name of it. I'll include links when this all wraps. So what I do is, the way I look at sweating is it's a body function, it's a body process. And when we want to restrict that, well, I know it's not always conducive and you don't want to be like, profusely sweating. It's a good sign. Sweating is a detox process. And so we want to allow that. I would recommend to limit that detoxing, to limit the amount of sweat that you're experiencing, would be to do dry skin brushing. And I actually have a course. So I have a few mini courses that are coming out in the next few weeks. I'm going to be doing video tutorial and specific dry skin brushing of all different areas of the body. I'm going to be also addressing it for lymphatic patients and folks that might have lymph flow impairments, lymph node removal, surgery, all of that stuff that might be causing detoxification challenges. But that is definitely one thing that I would recommend, is to do some dry skin brushing throughout the day. So that would be one thing that I would recommend. I'm just looking at monitoring. We've got a lot of crazy stuff. Let's see, crazy messages from some folks. So, okay. All right. So let's dig in. So I'm seeing some other comments here. Okay. Katie. Hi, Katie. Katie's one of our private members. Why won't my doctor do a T3 or a T4 on my thyroid? Well, unfortunately, a lot of times they just don't. You have to ask for it. And if you ask for it and they don't give it to you, if you're seeing a GP or like a PA, I would go to a specialist and ask. If you have any difficulty, we actually run, I have some back here, so you see those boxes, but I run tests, they're blood spot tests, so you don't have to deal with like whole blood draw. But if you're curious and concerned about it, definitely ask for it. But most of the time, doctors will generally run a TSH only, unless you get really specific. And I have some downloadable information where you can actually print out specific tests for like what are the tests that you want to ask for specifically. Jocelyn, does dry skin brushing help eczema? Yes, it absolutely can. Now, does it reduce it? It's not addressing the root cause, but what it is moving the lymphatics to help detoxify the skin. If there is any topical related candida or yeast, and definitely systemic, which is often eczema is gut related. So heal your gut, you'll heal your eczema. And Lois, hey Lois, I started rebounding after watching your videos, really loved it. Yay, I love rebounding. Okay, so the next thing that is really key to target when we're looking at healing cysts, thyroid dysfunction, PCOS, prostate issues, and any type of feeling of tired, fatigued, depressed, you feel depressed, anxious, or feel like depression's kind of looming, that those are neurotransmitter imbalances and even constipation, are indicators that we want to implement these 6 items. The third in this round to help heal cystic activity, to help heal fibrotic activity, and to balance the thyroid is to actually implement a liver detox. So one of the things that specifically for Katie, you asked the T3 and T4. Well, those are values that are being produced or synthesized. Those are levels of thyroid related hormone. It's actually being produced by your liver. So your liver becomes a really core organ. It's actually, we don't learn this in our human biology and human anatomy, but the reality is that our liver is both endocrine and exocrine gland. It's producing and synthesizing all sorts of hormones, vitamin D being one of them. And that isn't a vitamin, it's actually a steroidal oriented hormone, but it's also producing T3 and T4. And so those values, once you get them tested and you see, are they too high or too low, that's going to tell you what type of liver detoxing you want to do. I think, and this is how I implement in my life every day, but also what I recommend for my patients is every day I actually implement liver detoxing, and it comes to me in my life by way of dandelion tea and liquid milk thistle drops. Those are the two really just potent, very easy to implement resources that you can have in your catalog of supplementation, things that you keep. Like I have a drawer here, I have my teas, and I always have it in wherever I'm at the clinic. You might have seen my Instagram, which if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I hope you will, because I post things when I'm at the clinic or am out shopping. But our clinic owner manager had actually put out some organic rooted dandelion tea, and like I do little happy dances because I'm the one that's always bringing that in. So he started supplying that for all of us. So I'm going to take a quick little drink here. But dandelion, it's so good. Any of you do dandelion? Dandelion root, dash of salty. Dandelion root is what I recommend. The leaves are not going to be as potent. So 1 tea bag is equivalent of 1,500 milligrams, or not equivalent. It gives you 1,500 milligrams of dandelion. Often when you find capsules, they're about 500 or 1,000. So you're really, really, really going to boost your dandelion intake. So I find that one of the things that's very impactful is really, really beneficial to consume that in the morning and in the evening. And it really kind of helps deal with any type of estrogenic disruptor. So those estrogen disruptors we talked about, our livers are constantly being bombarded. It's the filtration system. And so like right now, my car, for example, needs an oil change, and it's a few hundred miles behind. Well, guess what? The oil change, like when I get an oil change, I'm going to get the oil filter changed out and the new oil goes in or whatever. Well, we have to service our body just like we service our cars. And my car, unfortunately, I treat not as great as my body, but if you treat your car better than your body, it would be good to think about detoxing your liver and to cleansing that filter. And dandelion tea, milk thistle are the things to do that. So Christina, she drinks it. Love it, love it. And so powerful, so beneficial. And the other thing that goes hand in hand with the liver, if you are not regularly moving your bowels, and regularity is 3 to 4 times a day. Yes, anytime I say that, people freak out. Oh my God, I'm going to be having diarrhea. Well, the reality is you're not, but you're going to have smaller contents, but it will be passing a lot more frequently and easier. And part of that is getting rid of toxicity, getting rid of estrogens. You're not going to be reabsorbing that. You're not going to be reabsorbing cholesterol. By adding milk thistle and dandelion, you actually enhance the liver's bioproduction, and it becomes sudsing and clearing. The fourth item I mentioned a little bit when we were talking about estrogen disruptors, but it's food. And I want to talk about the core 2 foods to eliminate, and then a few other foods that I've got here in front of me that you can add in. So it's a good switch. And oh my gosh, River Dance Fly, yay, thank you so much for this super chat. I'm so grateful. Thank you. So I really appreciate that. That helps support our channel. So thank you so much. Okay, so food, you definitely want to eliminate gluten. I find gluten is a major offender. And gluten is, and there's caveats. Like if you're going on a tour, like we're going to be in Europe next summer. I'm going to the Foldy Institute. I'm super excited. It's this huge training for lymphatics. All summer, we're going to be in Germany and kind of touring through. On the weekends when I'm not in class, we're going to be going to different countries. The standards in Europe and the processing, manufacturing, growing of wheat and gluten-based products is very different than here in the US. So if you're consuming US-based glutens, and you can read your labels and find out, those glutens are they're highly toxic. They're very offensive to your body, and they become something that is estrogenic disrupting, but also very inflammatory. It's gut inflammatory. It becomes inflammatory to all of our organs and all of the tissue, like our breast tissue, our ovaries, the uterus, the prostate. So food becomes something you have to start to evaluate. If you want to heal, if you are dealing with right now, if you are dealing with any type of like heavy bleeding from fibroids in your uterus, or really intense enlarged prostate, or breast tissue that expands and swells intensely and painfully every month, or you are dealing with all sorts of crazy menopausal hormones, or perimenopause and you shouldn't be in that phase, whatever those are, even goiters and inflammation of the actual thyroid, eliminating gluten will literally be life-changing. And I think there was an actress, a Hollywood actress, I want to say Denise Richards, because the only show that I watch on TV are these stupid reality TV shows, The Real Housewives. And she had posted that she went gluten-free and was cleaning up her diet so that she could reduce her enlarged thyroid. And literally her skin looked better, her hair looked better, like everything looked awesome. Like she just was glowing and demonstrated those changes not only have internal health benefit, but external as well. So that food is really big. And so foods that you definitely want to make sure you consume. And look at how tiny this little bug is. So this is an avocado. I don't know if you guys are finding this, but avocados seem to be getting smaller and they seem to be less ripe. So they're taking longer for us to ripen, even on bananas in our household. But this little avocado, this is really rich in some heavily beneficial nutrients. I'm going to tell you the nutrient that this is rich in. So this segues into my next fifth on the list. You want to eat foods that have selenium in it, or not selenium, tyrosine. This has tyrosine in it. Okay, so avocados are awesome. Yeah, it takes 13 months to grow an avocado. It's a long process. It's one of the reasons why they're not cheap. And I can't find them at Aldi for 39 cents anymore. So about as cheap as we're getting is like $1, I think is the cheapest I've been able to find them. But avocados are hugely beneficial in tyrosine. Tyrosine is a very, very beneficial amino acid. This amino acid is a nerve tonic. It calms inflammation in our brain and balances our neurotransmitters, but also can reduce the impact of bromine toxicity in our body. Similar, if any of you have watched my my seed cycling, the two seeds I love, which these are, I don't know if you can see, these are pumpkin seeds. Let me open this up. These are little pumpkin seeds and they're green and they've got now like, they're kind of crunchy, but you can even have like tamarind flavored. Okay, so pumpkin seeds are rich in tyrosine. This is very beneficial. Again, cysts, tumors, enlargement of prostate, nodules, hormone imbalance. These can help benefit and balance your body. Same thing with these little sesame seeds. I actually grind these up. So I wouldn't consume these whole. I grind them up, open up their goodness, and I add that into a nut yogurt or smoothie or on my avocado toast. So I'll blend those two together. Yeah, bare bones blessings, the good old Aldi days. These little guys, my love for avocados is blowing our budget. Okay, so some other foods that are great. So bananas are also rich in tyrosine, and bananas are rich in potassium. So I love that benefit. And there will be a video in September where I'm going to talk a little bit about the different stages of ripening, the process of that in a banana, how a green banana can deliver different nutrients than a super ripe, kind of black spotted banana, and how those, depending on what's going on in your body, you might want to eat more green, then more developed. So that video will come out. It's pretty fun video, and I think you guys will like that. But tyrosine, that's fifth on our list. And the final, we'll round out on one of my favorites is actually selenium via Brazil nuts. And if any of you are dealing with any type of liver imbalance, maybe an elevated enzyme or higher levels of cholesterol, or you're like borderline, but they want to put you on medication. You're like, no, don't feel comfortable doing that. And you might have a little tinge of like higher than what your doctor's comfortable with glucose, like insulin fasting glucose levels. The Brazil nuts are rich in selenium, and selenium will help to offset the body's inability to absorb and metabolize insulin and glucose. So it can help offset balanced blood sugar levels. Yeah, dash of salty. Wow, Brazil nuts. Yeah, Brazil nuts are fantastic. They're so, so good. So one of the things that you'll find is also, if you are taking a thyroid like natural supplement where you're getting iodine in this form, iodine or iodide, usually you'll have the combinations, and you want to offset the toxicity of that, eat 3 or 4 Brazil nuts. And to be honest with you, 3 Brazil nuts is meets your daily need. Now, if you're lower on selenium, go have 5, 6, 7 of them. I love those things. They're super crunchy. If you're like a crunch fan and you miss chips because you might not be consuming those, these are really, really good. Or want an alternative option for crunchiness. I love that. The other thing I also want to mention, I didn't really dig into this a little bit breast wise, and I'm seeing some questions about, let's see, I saw a question about endometrium hyperplasia, Jacqueline Costalos. Hey, Jacqueline. So one of the things with hyperplasia or kind of thickening or inability to shed properly. So this is all about the lining. There's hyperplasia for men in the prostate. The prostate gland is synonymous. It's the mirror image of the female uterus. So in the male body, what would have been a uterus is a prostate. And for women, the prostate, that gland in the female body is uterus. Receptivity is the same. It gets fed with estrogen. So I'd say if you caught some of this, replay this, and all of these items will address that. So, uterine lining imbalances, cystic breast tissue, cysts, polycystic ovarian syndrome, maybe a little weight gain, and it's from metabolic syndrome. All of this will be greatly impacted. One of the things that I love is the topical iodine. So we've mentioned a little bit about this as one way to get iodine in. For women, particularly, this Happy Breast Balm, this comes out of Australia. My friend Sue manufactures this, and it's so amazing. I don't know if any of you are consumers, but it smells great. It has frankincense in it. It has ylang ylang, thyme, lemon, rosemary, cinnamon, grapefruit, peppermint. It has magnesium oil, and it has iodine. And the topical iodine, it's great for applying on the breast tissue and the breast itself. Also, for women that are dealing with any type of uterine imbalances, I'll also recommend they smear that in the kind of triangle where the uterus is. And this is something that I want to put out there because every October I run a email kind of program. This year I'm stepping it up. So I now have gotten a little bit more of a handle on technology and have a little extra help. And I'm putting together a specific breast health course. And one of the things that will be in the course, ladies, is how to use this topically on your breast tissue and how to implement. So it's going to be a DIY, a tutorial of how to massage your breast and how to implement dry skin brushing in all the right ways for women with both breasts and women either that have one breast and they've removed tissue from a cancer diagnosis, or maybe they have lymph nodes removed and scarring. I dig way further into that, and that'll be coming out. I want to say I'm looking at my calendar, October 1st, and it's going to cover the tutorials. It's going to talk a lot about how to manage fibroids and cysts in the breast, how to turn around a mammogram that might be like suspect into the next mammogram. Things are moving in the clear side and you're decreasing inflammation. It's going to be a really exciting course, and it's going to be very, very specific for women. And I'm going to detail stuff that, unfortunately, with YouTube, there's a lot of censorship happening. And so there's some just video content I can't shoot and put on YouTube. And so the only place I can put it and house it is on my own server. So that'll be out as well. So look for that coming out on October 1st. So the courses and all of that I'll be posting about it. But what I'm talking about here is definitely going to impact not just breast health, uterine health, hormone health, It's going to impact prostate health. It's going to impact the health of your whole entire endocrine system, balancing out your hormones, helping you process insulin better, balancing also out the stress that your body might be undergoing. Because if you guys follow my channel, you know I'm talking a lot about cortisol. Haven't dug into that today because I really wanted to focus in on thyroid, iodine, and some of the food aspects that can affect a lot of those aspects and systems and glands in your body. But so much of us as ladies going through menopause, men going through andropause, and us having healthy tissue lies in us balancing excess estrogen not being produced by the body, because oftentimes you actually have low estrogen levels, to be honest with you, when you test, but you have excess estrogen. We call them foreign estrogens. These come in the way of heavily bonded, chained, just really, really strong estrogens that get in our body and we have a hard time getting out. So I wanted to really dig further into that with you, specifically because enhancing your iodine, detoxing your liver, eliminating gluten, adding Brazil nuts for your intake of selenium, and then tyrosine, adding your avocado, your sesame seeds, and your pumpkin, and making sure on a daily basis you've got spirulina in your diet and you've got kelp flakes. Holy cow, that will be life-changing, I promise you. So I will include this kind of breakdown, this list on the description box, so you guys can grab it. And let me answer some questions here. So any other questions? Super chat still is on. So if you guys want to make a donation, I'm always grateful for that. But more importantly, I want to make sure you guys got great stuff that you can take away and literally a list of items to either consider eliminating, like run, to your cabinets in your bathrooms and start to assess, what am I consuming every day? What might be toxic? Consider making a switch if you aren't already to organic and healthy food. We have this label, healthy food, and really, it's such a heavy label that like organic foods even sometimes are not always healthy. And gluten-free isn't always healthy. And so you want to be kind of conscious of that. Okay, so let's see here. Let me look at some questions we've got. Dr. DBBB, I like turmeric. Yes, it's so fantastic. Basketball fan, sprinkle turmeric powder. It's so fantastic. Dash of salty. You mentioned dandelion tea twice, morning and evening. What about milk thistle? So I actually add in a dropper of the milk thistle with every cup of tea. So I actually do 2 doses of that. Kay Lewis, is tea an iron blocker? Low iron, can I still have dandelion tea? No, as far as I am aware, it is not. What I would say, if you haven't been tested, test your body for a methylation detox or methylation defects, where sometimes the uptake of iron is a factor. But dandelion tea would not have any impact on that. Valda, hi, sends rebounding and dry skin brushing. Endocrine doctor said 2-year checkup now. Yay. Oh my gosh, that's so great to deal with the breast density. Yay. I love that. What a great testimonial. It does work. I'm so happy for you. Fran, I take selenium and kelp for glucose control. Absolutely. We have iodine receptivity all throughout our body. It's not just associated with the thyroid gland. So that, I'm going to put that out there for you guys. That's a huge, huge factor. And Brittany, you've been gluten-free for months. You have Hashimoto's. You heard that ashwagandha and iodine is bad. So ashwagandha is one of those ones where I would avoid if you do have Hashimoto's. It is a nightshade, and it is inflammatory in its condition or state that it impacts the thyroid. As far as iodine, that's where you want to work closely with a physician. I will supplement with iodine, but you've got to make sure you've got all the other uptake or helping minerals. Really core minerals will actually help enhance the iodine. So, oh, Lois, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, we got another super chat. I'm grateful. So that would be something I would, just be really conscious of. Iodine is not bad. And in fact, you can eat as much iodine as you so choose and you won't have any impact. It's often when people start really supplementing, like with the iodoros. That's why I always recommend food first, like with your kelp flakes and, even seaweed nori flakes. There's a lot of really good snack options that you can implement that are so fantastic. Soy, I've seen some questions about soy. Soy is very, very prevalent with pesticides. It's a super crop. It's in the top 5. We mass produce it, and it is pretty crazy in terms of just the amount of toxic matter that soy has in it, but also it's prevalent. It's everywhere. Like you start to look at your label, soy lecithin. It's an emulsifier, or not an emulsifier, but it's like whatever ingredients keeps things sticking together. It's used in that capacity. So a lot of times people go soy free, but then they don't realize like the supplements they take have soy in it. And that, it's not just soy sauce, but there's other things that have soy. So if you guys are interested in a little bit more information, oh my gosh, Bare Bones Blessing, thanks for the super chat, $14.99. I'm so grateful. If you are interested in a more specific related topic about soy, I'd be happy to do that. I saw Marlene, soy lattes. Oh, thanks, Christina. Oh, thanks for the super chat, you guys. We're making my afternoon. Yay. So soy lattes. Yeah, I would, I don't know who's doing them, if you're doing them or not, but generally I would switch to like an almond, coconut, cashew. Cashew is proving to be really, really good for folks. They're doing well with that. Tina, 53 years old, hypothyroidism, lipedema with lymphedema, has some reduced kidney function. The neurologist attributes to morbid obesity and age. Starting compression has made me feel CONT. I don't know what that means, but I am glad you're wearing compression. Very proud of you. There are a lot of things wrapped up in that, like lipolymphedema and lipedema, or lipolymphedema. The triggers, the thyroid imbalances are being triggered or triggering some of the degree of the lipedema. But if you start to eliminate estrogen disruptors, enhance your iodine intake with the food, add spirulina, add some kelp noodles. Kelp noodles are really yummy. Detox your liver, remove your gluten, add some Brazil nuts every day, eat your avocados, your bananas, your seeds. You're going to notice big changes. And grabbing the dandelion tea. So I'll take one more question, then I have got to run. Oh, very weak. I gotcha. Okay. So kidney wise, I would actually recommend, there is really good juicing, like celery juice is really good pro kidney, but also asparagus juice. It sounds kind of gross, but very, very beneficial for the kidneys. And also dandelion will be pro kidney related. And there's that kidney lymphatic connection as well. Christina, the doc water pill, I am going to stop. Yeah, I hate the water pills. They're so bad. So yeah, watermelon's excellent for that. You guys are so great. I love how you guys are connecting and helping support each other. It's exactly the community that I want to have supported amongst you guys. So I'm so grateful. And I think we hit some point, I think 160 of you joining me today. So I'm so grateful for your time. If you really enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and share. This is always helpful. YouTube dinged us recently. They did not like our CBD content. And so I am housing some very specific CBD content and actually creating a specific course to help any of you. I've had tons of you email me, so I have to comment and let you know where CBD is gone. Like all those videos, we made them all private. We are building out the website. We will house some of the video content there. I'm adding a whole bunch of more blog related information and some freebie downloads on our website. That'll be live this week and I'll let you guys know. But then also I had a podcast interview on Thursday or Friday with Kathy Smith. If you guys are familiar with her, she's this fitness like legend from the 80s and just is phenomenal. It looks, she's in her 70s and she looks like she's 40. She had me on her she interviewed me. The podcast will be out next week. And we are also kicking off the CBD course next week. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know, and I will make sure that I get all that information to you. And I'm going to dig into like more clinical case studies, the specifics of dosing, shopping lists, all of that really specific stuff, the stuff that I had for you in video content here, but even more in depth, more detailed. So I'm so grateful. And thanks everybody for the super chats. This is so helpful. So without further ado, I will wish all of you a wonderful Sunday. I had a live show earlier with a private group on Facebook, and I was telling them my challenge to you, because it's Sunday, it's Self-Care Sunday. I want you all, as soon as we go off and are no longer live, I want you to do something special for just you. I want you to implement one single self-care act today, and I want you to come back and comment on this video and let me know what it was. I'm so grateful. So am thankful and basketball fan. Yeah, censorship, but I own my content. I'm going to put it on platforms that I control, and nobody's going to be able to take it off. So it'll be accessible for you guys, if small, minor fee, but we're working around it. So quite eye-opening, and I'm so grateful to each of you. So go out, take care of yourselves, each other, and I'm so grateful for your time. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you later.